Hello everyone. Here's a machine that I built for a hospital. It's a breathing machine, and the machine would cost in the line of around $170 to make this machine in material and another $200 in labor. So I want to start by just showing basically the front of the machine and what the machine does. So here we have the first switch, which is 220 volts, and this is your power coming in. And then from the power, I go to a transformer, and the transformer converts everything that's inside this box to 12 volts. And then the next light I have here, the next switch, is a UV light. And what it does, it kills bacteria and germs and stuff. Most machines, all the machines that I know in the world, don't have a UV light inside of them. And I always wonder when a hospital, when somebody passes away and they clean up the hospital room and they move the machine to another room, what if there are bacteria in there? So I put a UV light in there just for protection. Another thing I did from COVID-19, I put in a camera system. And the camera system works that it can pivot 360 degrees. It can look inside the machine. For the maintenance person that's taking care of all the machines in the hospital, he can take a look and see how the machine's going. For the doctor, he can pivot the machine, the camera around, and he will actually be able to see the outside and see the patient and be able to talk to him. So here's the machine, and there's a window in the front, and there's another window here where you see my hands. So it's got two windows, and he can pivot over and he can listen to the patient and he can talk to the patient. So that's a very important thing. And not only to mention that the family can have access to the camera on their phone app. They can be in New York, they can be in Los Angeles, they can be in San Diego, they can be in Europe. As long as they have internet, they can pull it up on their phone and talk to their loved ones. And the loved ones can talk back to them. Also, some nurses are afraid of approaching some of these people that have a very contagious virus. And so the nurse, the head nurse, can turn on the camera and watch and talk to the patient and see that everything is going okay. The next thing I have here is a emergency battery. So if there's a power failure, a lot of hospitals have generators, but here in Brazil, they're limited. So some hospitals don't have generators. Some hospitals have generators and they don't work. Some places aren't even hospitals and they keep people. So the battery system, in case of a power failure, will run you 45 minutes. This battery system is very important for various reasons. If you had to transport a person from one hospital to the next, you could simply unplug the machine, keep the tube inside him, and take it to the hospital, take him to the next hospital with the machine disconnected in the ambulance, and it'll still keep working. If you add another battery, a secondary battery, you would have almost an hour and a half of driving that you wouldn't have to pump the pump by hand. It would be automatic. The next thing I have here, this light, every time the respirator pushes air inside the lung, it will light up. This is the velocity of the strokes of air that person will receive. You have to control it from 1 per second to 5 per second to 5 breaths per minute, depending on the size of the person and what they need. So with going up and down, you can control the speed of the stroke into the lungs. This is your breathing apparatus, and the tube would go here and it would go into the lungs. On the other side of the bag, there's a bulb that opens and closes, and that comes with the unit. Here you have a wheel, and this wheel gives you the volume of the bag. So you can increase the volume of the bag or decrease the volume of the bag, which a lot of machines don't have. And so you could use the same bag for an adult, use it for a child, just backing up this bulb. This unit will back off the bulb volume, and so you'll have it better. So that's basically it. That's the camera. There's also two of these devices here, which are your air regulators, and they would hook onto the oxygen. I have one spare because you could have an in and an out line. This is the bag that goes at the end and that opens and closes when the guy breathes out. This bag goes inside and it goes outside the back. Also, the line that goes to the oxygen tank that gets connected to this bulb is here. And you also get your breathing mask that goes on a person's face, obviously. So I'm going to turn on the first switch, which is this one. You see the little light go on. So that's the first switch. Then I'm going to turn on the transformer. I'm not going to turn on the UV light yet, and I'm not going to turn on the camera. I'm just going to leave those off. The battery system, I'm going to turn it on, and the battery system now shows that if there's a power failure, the battery system takes over. Here is the amount of breathing, and you can see the machine breathing here. And if I up the speed, I can up the speed, you'll hear it. So that's really a radical breathing. You wouldn't, I don't think you'd have a patient going up that high, but I would say the normal would be something really low. Probably there. So now I will open the box and we're going to take a look at the system. And here's the piston that pushes the bulb in. This wheel, if you turn it, you will turn the slider, which will push this further in and give more volume pressure. Here's your camera. So now I'm going to go and turn on the camera. The camera is now going to be activated. So now comes the camera. It's finding itself, it's picking up the signal, and it's going to be ready to receive and to send whatever needs to be done for the person to be able to talk to them and communicate with them. Now here I will remove this top of the box so that you can see the system, how it works. And this is your main transformer. This is your battery. This is the motor that pushes back and forth with a gear drive into the bulb. And this right here, if I turn it on, is your ultraviolet light. And if you notice, the machine right now is wide open and the noise is very, very low. So now I will disconnect just to get an idea of what it looks like at night, that it doesn't intrude too much on a person. And this is basically what you have. And the UV light is great because it kills all types of bacteria, and maybe the virus gets annoyed with it and you get rid of it. I did some holes, perforated holes in the machine so that the light travels on all sides. So anyway, this machine is very cheap to make. It's not a $20, $30, $60, $100,000 machine. It's a very simple machine, but for third world countries, it's one of the best things they can have, and it has a lot of advanced features like the UV light, the battery, and the camera, which I'm going to say maybe 50% of the machines have battery backup. I would say 0 of the machines have ultraviolet, and I would say 0 of the machines have a camera that they can talk to the patient. So we have quite a bit of new stuff in here, and all done for under $2,000. That's all I have.